Hello, and welcome to the presentation today for the online Interdepartmental Transfer Form. Interdepartmental Transfers, IDTs, formerly Departmental Transfer Authorization or DTA, are used to record charges and revenue or recovery for sales of goods and services between university departments. In the past, we may have used the DT form for entries that were just in between different departments. But going forward, this form should only be used for the purchase and sale of goods and services between departments. And we'll discuss why this is important later. So at this point in the interdepartmental transfer process, you have all the documentation for your entry, whether that includes DocuSign PDFs with electronic signatures or some other appropriate method. The goods or services have been received by the purchasing department, and no longer will you send financial accounting and reporting paper copies to process an entry. You are ready to make your entry to Banner. You have two options: the new online interdepartmental transfer form or a FUPload. If you currently use the FUPload process, you may continue to do so. This is the preferred method for large entries. The new online form supports a maximum of 50 lines. Typically, the billing department will be responsible for completing the new online IDT form or a FUPload that posts to Banner. Let's take a look at how the online IDT form looks. The link will require a Duo login if you are not already logged in through Duo. The header includes an explanation of IDTs. As we discussed previously, interdepartmental transfers are used to record charges and revenue or recovery for sales of goods and services between university departments. The department billing for the goods and services is typically responsible for initiating the process by communicating the amount to be charged and instruction for completing a DocuSign departmental payment form to the department purchasing the goods or services. In the form, the purchasing department will provide a vote for the billing department to charge and electronic signatures approving the purchase. The billing department is typically responsible for completing the online IDT form below and attaching documentation of the approved transaction, the electronically signed departmental payment form. This new online form will create an entry that will post to Banner. It is important to note when the IDT form should be used versus using the journal voucher form. If you are reimbursing another department or moving funding, distributing interdepartmental charges, reclassifying charges, or correcting charges, use the journal voucher form instead of the interdepartmental transfer form. The IDT form will limit the account codes that you can use when preparing the entry. For instance, the debit or charge out for the purchase of goods and services will only allow you to use accounts that do not start with 780 recovery accounts or 5 revenue accounts. The credit or the billing side will only allow you to use accounts that start with 780 recovery, revenue starts with a 5, or 1 or 2 that are rarely used clearing accounts. Note the required fields are those with an asterisk beside the field name. The requester field is auto-populated based on your Duo login information. The transaction date determines the period that the entry posts in Banner. For example, for Chart A, the transaction date of August 7th, 2020 will post to period 11 for fiscal year 2020. The form auto-populates the current date, but it can be updated. The online form limits the date entered to within 30 days of the current date. Please be aware of month-end closing dates. See a listing at our website, financialaccounting.ua.edu, month end. Your entry will not process if you use a transaction date for a month that is closed. The next field is a description of interdepartmental transfer. enter a general description of the entry. For example, billing for printing services, July 2020. The maximum number of lines for the IDT form is 50. We'll start with line 1, journal type. There are two options available. FT01 should be used between the same chart. So if the debit and the credit are to the same chart, use FT01. JE26 is between different charts. If the debit and the credit are to different charts, use JE26. If multiple transaction lines occur, the dollar amount for debits for a particular journal type must match the total dollar amount of credits for that same journal type. Document reference is optional. It's an 8-character field that can be used for your internal reference. Description for this particular line item has a 35-character limit. Chart of accounts has a drop-down for all of our charts of accounts. You may enter your fund code from your documentation. The org code will auto-populate if the fund has a default. Remember, the account codes are limited for the IDT form. When a debit is used, you cannot start the account code with a 5 or a 780, which are revenue and recovery. When a credit is used, you can only start the account code with a 5, revenue, 780, recovery, a 1, or a 2. The program code will auto-populate if the fund has a default. Activity codes are optional. Always enter the amount value as a positive number. Choose debit or credit for each line. Debit is an increase to expense or a decrease to revenue. Credit is an increase to revenue or decrease to expense. Each entry is required to have more than one line. Your debits must equal your credits. You may copy the line above by choosing the Copy Line button. Tap through the field to make changes and choose Debit or Credit. To add a new blank line, choose the Add Line button. If a line is added in error or needs to be deleted, choose Remove. The batch total should keep a running total of all amounts, debit and credit, in the entry. Attach any documentation for your entry. A maximum of 5 files may be attached. Please combine files where possible. Files must be in the same folder in order to attach multiple files to the form. Click the Choose Files button and locate the files to attach. If more than one file, hold down the Control key on your keyboard and click the files. For contract and grant funds, be sure that the principal investigator approval is obtained and attached if not supplied on the departmental payment form through DocuSign. Choose Submit the form. Sometimes the first entry submitted for the day takes a little bit longer. You can see our request has been submitted. Your submission has been received and will soon be processed. Validation errors will appear if something needs to be corrected on the form. You can scroll back through the form looking for the red outlined boxes and messages for fields that are required. Once the form is submitted, you're directed to this landing page that states your request has been submitted. Shortly, the preparer will receive an email with the on-base request ID, transaction date of the entry, and description of the entry for your records. The entry will route first to fund managers for your contract and grant funds, UA accountants or foundation accountants for approval. Then the entry will route to a secondary review through contracts and grants and/or financial accounting and reporting. The preparer will receive an email that either the entry was approved with any approval notes or denied with any denial notes. Denied entries will require a complete restart of the online entry process. After the entry has made it all the way through approvals, an automated upload will be created and loaded to Banner. The preparer will receive an email with the assigned Banner document number. Banner document numbers for the IDT form will begin with DT. We hope you enjoy using the new online form for interdepartmental transfers. Thank you.